All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the first episode in 2024 of Ear to Ear Podcast with C. Ray and Laney Mo. Been a while since we've been on, but if in case anybody forgot, I am C. Ray, and this loving fella here is Laney Mo. It's right there in the corner of the screen in case we don't know. Laney, how you doing today, man?
Good, man. Happy New Year. Been a little bit busy. We're back. So get ready because this one here might be a little bit of something for you.
Yeah, a lot has happened. It's been a while since we've been on. I took some vacation time there for Christmas and New Year's, and Laney took some time for the holidays, and then I had the flu last week. So been a little rough trying to get back in the driver's seat here in 2024, but we are back, and we are excited. We have a lot of stuff to go over. A lot of stuff has happened in the last few weeks, the official end of college football season. Basketball team up and down, Jekyll and Hyde there. Jekyll and Hyde, I'm sorry. So I guess the best thing to start with, though, is our bowl game, right? Neil Brown got covered in a couple gallons of mayonnaise, Duke's mayonnaise. WVU coming out of Charlotte 30-10 on that, man. It puts a cap on the season. We end the season at 9-4, tied for 4th, 5th, something like that in the final standings of the Big 12. And Laney, let's start with that, man. What did you like about it?
We should have been, honestly, it doesn't matter. Rankings really don't matter at the end of the year what you finish. We all know who finished number one. But I think, we should have won. We should have been in the top 25, hands down. I was fortunate enough to go down there, and it was like they picked up Morgantown and plugged it in down there in Charlotte. It was a sea of blue and gold. Honestly, NC North Carolina fans, the ones that were there, they really didn't want to be there. They were the diehard fans in North Carolina, and but it was just highly upsetting that you're playing in your home state and they didn't show up. And of course, right. We're missing players. We got guys sitting out. We finished the season on a losing note, yada, yada, yada. And but I think if West Virginia plays with all the returners from North Carolina, if North Carolina would have had a regular team, West Virginia wins. Did we run up and down the field? No, we didn't. Was it decisive? Yeah. But it was could we played a lot better? Absolutely. But it was one of those, we got big plays. First play of the game, pretty much, 75-yard touchdown. And I'm a buddy next to me going, we're going to score 100. We're going to score 100. I should have put more on it, I didn't know, but really I did. But with for those who like to look at Vegas odds, I think it was 6.5, and you were a fool if you didn't bet it on West Virginia to cover. But anyway, I thought it was going to be. I truly thought West Virginia would win by more than 20. I was saying 2 scores plus. We helped ourselves out a lot. We kept out of the end zone. Defense played phenomenal. Defense, even though, I'm saying, the quarterback found out when he was in math class that he was going to be the starter for North Carolina pretty much. He didn't have nothing for us. He surprised me a little bit. He was quicker than what I thought he was. But North Carolina they just didn't play great. They didn't play, and if we play them 10 times, we beat them 10 times. With their starters, it'd have been a lot better game. If they'd had everybody, it'd have been a lot better. Beanie with the punt return and defense with one-hand interceptions and picking the end zone by Aubrey Burks. We kept them out. But we weren't up and down the field like I thought we were. The running game I thought was going to be a lot more potent. But if we won, if we won a bowl game, that's all that really mattered. Nobody's going to remember the score years from now. Very few. Brown got drowned in Mayo, and it was awesome. West Virginia, the fans, the coaching staff, hell, the flute players needed that bowl win. Yeah. Everybody in the program needed that bowl win. Yeah. Now, on into next year, you set the bar higher, and so fire away what you think, Bub.
Well, yeah, I guess we can start with the bowl game there. You're right. It wasn't. We didn't completely dominate and rip them to shreds, but it was a convincing win, and we were clearly the better team. And yeah, there is some credibility to their starters sitting out, and I think that's part of the problem in college football.
It
man.
is. It is.
It makes the bowl games, especially if you're in these bowl games that don't matter, the real early bowl games, it makes them even more meaningless, because it's like, okay, well, now not only are we on the first bowl game 2 weeks before, a week and a half before Christmas, but now half the team's not playing. I agree. I think we still win that game even with their starters. I don't think that they have anything enough to beat us. You say 10 out of 10, I say probably 9 out of 10. You're forever the optimist, Lanny. We all know that. I'm forever the you be positive, I'll be realistic. That's how you and I are. I don't think we beat them 10 out of 10, but I do think we beat them 9 out of 10, even with their starters. So it was a great end to a season to cap it off 9-4. It shattered the expectations of pretty much everybody in the country of what West Virginia football was supposed to be this year. Yeah. You had all the experts out there, hey, they're going to finish 14th. They're going to finish dead last in the conference, which I didn't have a lot of high hopes for the season this year, and anybody that knows me knows that. But I never thought we were going to finish 14th in the conference. That's ridiculous. We had 4 new G5 teams, and they were all on our schedule this year.
Yeah,
we're not finishing 14th. Anybody that knows me, I did go on the record saying I figured we were going to finish 5-7. I figured 6-6 would be a really good year. 7-5 would be a miracle. That's kind of where I was this year. 5-7, I think, was my official prediction now. And there were a lot of people on that same train with me. But if you look back at the previous 4 years of Mountaineer football under the Neil Brown era, it wasn't unreasonable to expect that, right? I mean, excuse me. You look at the last 4 years, it's not like it was out of the question to think that we were going to finish 5-7, 6-6. I, for one, am extremely happy to be wrong about it. I can admit when I'm wrong. I can eat that crow, and I'll eat a plate of it every day till the first game this coming year. The thing for me, and this is always my hook, right? Forever the realistic look here. We were gifted. It was a gift of a schedule this year. And that's not to say that we didn't overachieve, because we did. Because even with this schedule, I thought 5-7. But we had an easier schedule that, in my opinion, any of our coaches in the last 20 years gets 9 wins, 10 wins easy this year. So still, though, finishing better than I thought. In order for Neil Brown to have my support, not that it means anything to him, but for my personal inner love of WVU, he had to win 8 regular season games, and we had to get a bowl win or a respectable bowl loss. And a lot of people say, well, what do you mean when you say respectable bowl loss? I'm saying we're playing a team that is same record, even with us, and we play back and forth, nail biter, and maybe we lose on a bad bounce here or there. A respectable bowl loss, I could handle that with 8 regular season wins. Well, hey, he got 8 regular season wins, and he got the bowl win. So I'm here to say that although I'm not going to be climbing up that mountain and riding that bandwagon, I am going to buy a ticket at the 2025 station. Okay. I'm supporting being here this coming year, because that's what I said I would do if he got 8 wins. But the schedule this coming year, in my opinion, a little more difficult. We're getting some teams back next year that I think would have been losses this year. Some of them regular Big 12 teams we're going to get back next year. I think it's going to be a little more difficult of a schedule, but another 8-win season and another bowl win, I'll be waving the brown flag 2025. I'll be waving it with the best of them. I'll be out there. I'll be that man's front train number 1 supporter if he can replicate next year and prove that this year was not just a one-off thing under the Neil Brown era. And this is the last thing I'll say about the past games in the season, because the season's over. The Houston game, I think, was the turning point for him. I think the Houston game, we got up there by a 1 score, and he tried to do that same thing he did where, all right, I'm up 7-10 points. I'm going to put it on the ground, try to ride it out. And I think the Houston game showed him that is not going to work in Power 5 football. All of us that were already here knew it, but he had to learn that lesson himself. And I think the Houston game is where he learned it, because that's where it kind of turned around. And I will give all the credit where it's due. The team was a different team at the end of the season than it was at the beginning.
Yeah.
Brown, in my opinion, was a different coach at the end of the year than he was at the beginning. So there was a lot of notable progress this year that I think setting the expectation of 8 wins again next year is completely reasonable. So that's kind of where I stand with all of it. Like I said, happy to be wrong, and I'm here to see what he can do this coming year. I think. Go ahead.
I'm not trying to wish away I don't want time. I'm tired of winter already, and it has just got here. But I cannot wait until Penn State rolls into Morgantown. First weekend of officially September, I think it is. The hotels are booked. Everything's sold out already. In the area. Penn State and Morgantown is going to bring back like the glory days of like the 80s, 90s as far as Mountaineer football for a home atmosphere. Me and you talked before this that it's going to be reminiscent of LSU coming here of
Pat White's last home game was that place was rocking. Pat White's last home game.
It's going to be electric.
Yeah.
And I just feel as if West Virginia's going to come in preseason. They're going to rank us anyway because we deserve it. This team will deserve to be ranked number 20, 22, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? When the season starts, Penn State's, my guess, is probably going to be around 10, 11, based upon their returners and stuff like that. They'll be a top 10 team. And Morgantown's going to be absolutely pandemonium. If the schedule, what I seen, I don't know if it's locked in. I don't know if it's a bogus one, but it was like Penn State at home, then Albany at home, and then 5 games in a row on the road.
Which sets up a heck of a home slate on the second half of the season. We're going to have like 5 weeks in a row. We're going to be Morgantown.
Then it was the last 5 at home. And I'm like, there's no way they can keep that schedule. With the traveling in the Big 12, and but it might be. I mean, from what I've seen, it was like home, away for 5, home for 5, which would be like crazy to go on the road for 5 games in a row and then come home for 5 games in a row.
No, I think I know what you're talking about, and I think what you're looking at is the schedule. The schedules that are out now, the only ones that are for sure scheduled are the out of conference games.
Okay.
And then they have, hey, these are the away games this year.
Okay.
These are the home games this year. But the schedule hasn't actually been like released as far as they haven't been scheduled essentially the weeks yet.
Right.
It's just, hey, here's your out of conference, here's your home, here's your away. And
this year, I mean, I'm going to Pitt, and and I'm going to go to Cincy. I love it. I love that I can get up on a Saturday morning, me and the wife go to breakfast, and then I can head to Cincinnati for 3 hours and catch a game. And being from southern to state, you live down south, and I live here in Morgantown. It's like, unbelievable.
I miss living in Morgantown, man. I really do.
No, you don't. It's nothing special.
Come on.
Except that when there's one of my buddies call me up and say, "Hey, man, you want to go to the go to the basketball game? I got tickets." I'm like, yeah, I'll go. Go watch those fools. Let's talk about that juggernaut that's happening over there for a minute.
Well, so first off, we gotta be happy about beating a top 25 team last night. It was the 25th of the top 25, but 25th, ranked team nonetheless. And that's probably a win that I don't think very many people have expected. It's hard for me. There's still people out there that are kind of dogging Allert. And it's so hard for me to put a lot of blame on Allert because how do you handle everything he's had to handle? You start this team with kind of a 6 or 7 guys, and then you get a couple back after the whole court thing with Battle and everything comes through. And then as soon as you get those guys back, Edwards hurts his wrist, so now he's out. And it's like, it's hard to put anything together when you're dealing with all this kind of crap that Allard's dealing with right now.
He hasn't full roster yet.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't matter. The guys who were practicing in October, that team in October has not hit the floor together yet.
Right.
So, I mean, it's still You lose the guy, pick up the guy, lose the guy, start with 7 players, get a guy hurt, and it's like it's so hard. And Eilert, I just believe he didn't have a chance from the beginning, as far as the NCAA stuff going on, keeping battle out and but now it's I still believe it's too much, too little, too late, whatever you want to call it. They'll be lucky to finish 500 is my true belief still.
Yeah.
Lucky. I don't think they get to 500. And what's sad is I don't think he has a chance, a snowball's chance in hell of being a coach. I think they go outside the program to get their next head coach. I think he's a one and done, and this staff is full of West Virginia alumni guys, and they're one and done with it. And then also, I think 6 or 7 of the players are 5th year, 6th year, whatever they are, transfers, and they're gone. And we're gonna have to have an influx of. We're gonna live in the NIL. That's where this team's gonna live. And as far as other classes coming in, it's going to be a nitpick team, and you're not going to see freshmen come in here. And if you get a freshman, you better play him. If not, they're transferring.
Yep.
And same as football. And we're not the only one. I'm not talking. It's every college in the nation. You're not going to have a guy come in as a freshman and get his degree and move on. It's just not going to happen.
No. Well, and the way the landscape of college sports has now been kind of tilted is you're looking at this stuff, and this is the new norm. This is how it is now, and that's why I'm constantly saying it's essentially, a college football is essentially a G League for the NFL now. And you got guys jumping around like free agents. You got people making, signing whatever NIL contracts and all this crap. And it's kind of, for me personally, it's destroying what's great about college sports. The thing that used to be great about college sports is these guys coming out, and it's one of the reasons I like college football so much more than the NFL. Those guys in the NFL are going to get their checks whether they win or lose most of the time. I mean, they all have incentives to where, like, if they, if we win a Super Bowl, everybody's going to get a little bit extra money, all this crap. They all have that. But their base contract, they're going to get that whether or not they win or lose. And I'm not saying that those guys don't care, but the kids that play for the pride of WVU beating the crap out of Pitt, and the kids that play, when Alabama and Auburn play, in the Iron Bowl or whatever it is they call it, that's Alabama and Auburn, right? Yeah. They're playing for that pride of the school. And it's like it means more because they're trying to get to that next level, and they put so much more into it. And that's kind of fading away now, because now it's like, okay, this kid can go play a couple years of college ball, and if he's good enough in college, make a couple $1 million, and he doesn't really care if he goes to the NFL or not. And I'm not saying there's many of them out there like that, because that's the goal of all of them. But you know what I'm saying? It's changing the entertainment factor for me of college sports.
Well, you're not getting a kid who's happy to get his education.
Oh, it's not about education anymore.
It's not about I am blessed that I'm getting my education now.
Yeah.
No, it's going to cost you this much to get me, and I'm not going to play school. I'm not going to play school. I'm going to play my sport, get my money, and go. And you know what? I swear to you, if I had a kid that was fortunate enough to go to college and he could get an education and get a side check, hey, you go play, and who's willing to cut you your check, son? Yeah. Go. Absolutely. And if you get your pick between, I'm just throwing this out there, West Virginia is going to give you $700,000 a year, or God forbid, Marshall's going to give you, whatever, or Penn State or Alabama is going to give you $1 million. You know what? Go get your education and go get your $1 million check from Alabama, son.
Get paid. And that's what it is then. Yeah.
Go get your education, pick where you want that has your field, but go get your money.
Yeah.
It could be gone in a next play.
Yeah.
Truthfully. And I don't blame these kids for shopping, because that's what they're doing. They're shopping their education and their talent.
Mm-hmm. And I've never been against. I want, before somebody, if we ever get anywhere with this stuff and some real people see this thing, I don't want people thinking like, oh, he doesn't want. No, I've always been for the players making some money off of this, because let's be honest, these kids are going out there. Excuse me, damn, almost over the flu. These kids are going out there and they are playing a sport they love, and they are getting a free education, but the universities are making millions off the backs of these kids. Absolutely. So absolutely have always been okay with the players getting a cut. Never had a problem with that. But this wild, wild west version where really right now there's no regulation, there's no rules, there's nothing. That's what's going to destroy the sport. And I'm not saying I want the government to step in. We're not going to get into politics or anything on this podcast. We're never going to do that. I'm not saying that like the government needs to step in and regulate this, but there has to be a regulating body somewhere of this. And whether it's college football breaks off and makes its own thing to where the NCAA isn't over it anymore, and they have, vote in a commissioner, kind of like the NFL has something. There has to be something somewhere to regulate this crap. And I guess that's the hook right now is, well, what do you do? How do you regulate it? But I don't know what the answer is, but somebody somewhere has got to find it.
Well, West Virginia has a player right now that just signed his NIL deal to stay at West Virginia that openly said he was getting contacted the week of the bowl game by other programs. He openly said other programs had pretty much scouts calling him saying, you need to set out. I suggest you don't play. This is what we're going to offer you. If you get hurt, it's off the table. That's what I heard in Charlotte. And there was a guy that played and actually made plays during the bowl game. And then about a week after the bowl game, he signed his NIL deal to stay at West Virginia.
Well, I don't know what we're doing to get guys to stay, but I'm glad we're doing it.
But what's crazy is that is ludicrous that you got a kid practicing for his game getting calls from other universities.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about, just being
shady.
Well, just stabbing another university in the back.
Yeah. Well, and that's a really good example of why we need some sort of regulation about this, because if I'm not, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not real in depth with the NFL, but isn't that illegal in the NFL? Like, isn't there there's a certain period when other teams can contact a team about, right?
I don't know, but I don't think it's personally. I think it's my team calling your team executives or whatever.
Yeah, it's not somebody picking up the phone calling Patrick Mahomes and saying, "Hey, man, you want to come to Dallas?" What's
up?
Yeah.
I mean, I truly don't know about that, but it's crazy. And these players, some of these players in college, they know like their best friend, like Garrett Green, after the game was seen talking to, and it got like hot mic'd that it was one of his close buddies that I don't know if he went to high school with, went to camps with, whatever, wide receiver, North Carolina. He's giving him a hug after the game saying, come on home for 1 year. Come on up to Morgantown for 1 year. I mean, it was hot mic'd.
Right.
And he, Garrett Green is recruiting before he holds up the MVP for the Mayo Bowl. And that's just insane to me that they're on the field. And these players talk to each other. They're friends.
Yeah.
Like me and you, like, hey man, what's going on what's going on down where you live at? Hey Lanny, what's going on up here where you live at?
Yeah.
And dude, our program, I don't like where it's sitting at, man. You know what? Come on to Morgantown. Or, hey man, we got something cooking down here. You play for West Virginia. You ain't getting no balls thrown to you. Come down here. I'll throw you 6 balls a game, man. I'll get you that close to 1,000 yards, and you'll get drafted.
Yeah.
That goes down.
Oh yeah, absolutely does.
But
Well, who was it? Who was it? Wasn't that how we ended up with Will Greer? Was he got on a plane and happened to sit down beside Clint Trickett?
yes,
And I mean, and
story. That's the
that,
story.
that's the story. And I mean, and that was before. I mean, obviously, that was before any of this NIL stuff got up and rolling. But like,
Yeah.
that's how we ended up with him. So
Yeah.
you're right. And I think also speaking of going back to something you said, Garrett Green and holding up the MVP trophy. Did you see where he ended the season in the top 10 of PFF grades on quarterbacks?
I don't pay attention to that. I don't read much, but
I don't read much. I like that's funny.
I barely read at all.
I don't read, see, Ray. I don't know, man.
What's that thing, that reading stuff about?
But yeah, it's like whatever the formula is they use to grade college quarterbacks, like their efficiency or whatever it is. I'm not real sure, but he ended up in like the top 10 at the end of the season.
What's crazy, he was picked as like one of the worst.
He was picked almost dead last, wasn't he?
Yes.
He was like 2 up from the bottom at the beginning of the season.
I think there's 124 or something. And he was like 122.
Yeah.
As the worst starter in college.
And you know what, man? Different quarterback at the end of the year than the beginning of the year. I mean, it really was. It's all around. It's all around a huge improvement on the team. So, and that's why my bar next year is the same, because our schedule is a tiny bit harder, I think. But like I said, it's still perfectly possible for us to get another 8 wins.
I don't see us with this staff coming back and the team that's on paper right now. I don't see us, if we win 7 or less, I'm kind of disappointed.
Well, if we go back, if
we win 8, I'm going, okay, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Yeah.
8 regular season. If they win 7, I go, you know what? We left something out there. We didn't get a bounce. Something fell apart. But yeah, I think but Neil Brown set that bar, and 6 wins, it's not acceptable. 7 wins, that's kind of okay. You're going to get a bowl, but it is what it is at that point, but I want more. Give me more of this stuff,
Right. Well, I mean,
yeah.
I tell you what, man, if we got Jaheim White on the team again next year, it's possible. I love that kid, dude. I just freaking love his heart and the effort that he puts in to every freaking play, man. I just love the kid, and I hope he stays here for. He's going to go to the draft. What is it in college? You got to be in college. You got to go. You got to play 3 years of college before you can go to the draft early.
That it?
I think so. I think it's 3. You can't. But anyway, however long he's going to be in college before he goes to the NFL, I hope it's all with West Virginia.
Yeah.
But kind of going back to what we were talking 2 seconds ago, the basketball team. I don't know, man. I think, I think it's possible for us to figure some things out and maybe have a winning record toward the end of the season as far as games from here out, not total as a season. I think there'd be some improvement.
Let's forget about these first 15.
Yeah, first 15 aren't all that important. You got to get hot at the right time, Lanny.
Yeah, that's it. They just go, hey, let's just win. Just tank out, reset everybody until the Big 12 tournament. Let's win the Big 12 tournament and then go on a 6-game heater.
That's right. That's right. Listen. The thing that kills me is, Huggins and the staff spent a lot of time putting together what was going to be probably our best team in a long time.
In a minute, yeah.
And in the blink of an eye, or in the drink, in the sip of a drink, it flushed. And it kills me for the guys that are here, that are spending their last year here. Yeah. That what was supposed to be a completely different season than what we are currently having. And I feel bad for those kids. I feel bad for the guys that came in with that 1 year left, where, Huggins and the staff put this sales pitch out there that they bought into, and they sign here for that last year. And then that happens. And it's like, and we all know what happened. We don't need to get into it. We all are aware of the situation. It happened. And then these guys are stuck with their last year. It sucks. It sucks. So you're right. I think Aller is kind of a one and done thing. I think I too, like you said, I look for the university to kind of go outside of the box, outside of the Coliseum for the hire.
I hate it.
I don't.
I don't like it.
I mean, I don't either. I don't think he was given a fair chance, but I don't know. I don't know him well enough.
I don't know. I don't know who you go after. That's a
good question.
That's the other thing. It's like, who do you go? Because you gotta have somebody that fits. West Virginia is a special, near and dear to my heart. But it really is weird that it takes somebody special to come here, to embrace everything, and it's just I don't know who's the guy that you say I want to put this next 5 years and let's draw this step out this and see where we want to be. I don't know who you go after, man.
I have zero idea. I don't know. Maybe you get Roy Williams to come out of retirement. I mean, maybe we get Beeline back. I don't know. That's what everybody wants. Everybody wants to recycle coaches. You want Rich Rod for football. Why can't I have Beeline for basketball?
The guy that I want for basketball is an absolute. He's got his own problems. Yeah, Chris Beard. Dude, he had a wife problem. I guess you can't put your hands on your wife.
I didn't know that.
My mom would personally kill me, but it's and he's at Ole Miss, and it's something ridiculous down there. They're like 13-2 or something, and he's got them ranked number 10 in the nation at Ole Miss basketball. But Chris Beard gets down, and he wins, and that's my guy, but he comes with some serious baggage.
Yeah.
No, nothing. He did not get handcuffed. He did not get interviewed. Were dropped allegedly. Let's go McAfee. Allegedly.
Yeah.
And so that's like but Huggins. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. Those who say Huggins will be back, you're absolutely, completely off your rocker. There's no chance West Virginia hires him back. He will not. The closest he's going to come is sitting in the stands in the Coliseum, which he's been doing this year, which he just gone for punishment, I think. To come up there and watch him, his blood pressure gets up, and people make a big deal about Huggins sitting in the stands. He lives, 0.6 miles away from the stadium. What else is he going to do on a Tuesday night, Saturday afternoon? He loves the university. I'm not taking nothing away from Huggins. He did a lot here.
Yeah.
But dude, stay away. Turn on your TV. Not that the players are looking up saying, "Oh, he's a distraction." He's not a distraction.
Hey, do you think he's maybe texting Aller plays and what to do?
No. No.
Yeah. Listen, hey, I agree. He's not coming back. And the people got and here's the thing. Here's the thing that bothers me about the people that want him back. It's a perfect example of wanting to change the rules that exist based on someone's level in society. And you don't want the rules to apply to a certain person because of who they are. If Joe Blow down the road here that drives a spray-painted Honda was driving through the neighborhood, busting up trash cans because he's drunk and went to jail and lost his job at Walmart, can you sign this petition for Joe Blow to get his job back at Walmart? Well, no, he was drunk driving, should have been doing it. What's the difference? I'm sorry. I love Huggins. I loved and supported Huggins as much as everybody else in the state. But
you can't protect him from himself.
Huh?
You can't protect him from himself.
Right. And I hope he gets better. And I hear that he is getting the help he needs. And absolutely. I'm happy for that. That's fantastic. But he's not going to coach here again.
No.
So let's drop that. But I got something I want to spring on you, and I want your thoughts on it, okay?
Go ahead. Let's get off. Let's roll.
Yeah. You ready for this?
Yes.
Now listen, I made a pretty big stink about the fact that Florida State didn't get in the playoff.
How much you made a stink of? I made enough to choke a horse on that game. So go ahead.
Yeah. Oh God. Okay. So first off, the graphic that I just showed does not change my feelings about them not getting into the playoffs. Okay, it doesn't. I'm sorry. Yeah, they got their ass beat. I'm telling you right now, Laney. Let's see. If they would have played Michigan, right? Right? Is that what spot were they?
Mattered who they played.
They were not going to
alleviated by anybody.
That is not true. There is no way that any of the other teams, Georgia was going to freaking smash anybody they played, except Bama. Bama would have been their best game. If they would have played Texas, Georgia would have kicked the crap out of Texas. If they would have played, God help Washington if they would have played Georgia. And I'm telling you right now, same thing goes for Michigan. The only team, now listen, Georgia wouldn't beat the crap out of them like they did Florida State. The only team that had a real chance to beat Georgia in the playoffs was Alabama.
No.
Nobody else. They beat every other team in the playoffs except Bama. So, Florida State.
I just don't agree with you. I'm not trying.
Well, that's great. That's great. You didn't agree with me about half the crap I said about Neil Brown through the season, and look where we're at now. That's fantastic. My record's not looking good right now. That doesn't change the fact that I still think this needs to be a results-driven playoff. That right there is the same thing as the Patriots getting booted and not getting in, and then, well, that's not a good example. Let's go to something else. I don't even know where I'm going to go with that. I can't even.
I personally think the best team in college football won national championship. It worked out. But what I did love, besides for that shit show, Georgia and, the Knowles, we had two very, very good playoff games.
We did. First off, I enjoyed not seeing an SEC team in the national championship.
Yeah, I did too.
I was a fan of that. I do think that I hate that Texas lost. God knows I hate rooting for Texas. I can't stand it. But for conference affiliation, you kind of had to, right? Because if they happen to win, WVU gets benefit from that.
Give us a little bit more,
just a little bit.
Yeah.
So you have to pull for them. But I really did think that Texas had a chance to beat Bama, and it was a good game.
It was
a good game. It was a great game.
Yeah.
So, and you're right. And the same thing happened with Washington. It was just the way you said it was just the way to say it. It was a good playoff. It was good to not see somebody getting their ass stomped and be boring.
The playoff committee, whenever they left out, Florida State, and they saw what Georgia did, the playoff committee had to go, thank God. Thank goodness. Because you know what? It made the playoff committee look good to leave a team out that got beat by 60.
Yeah, but they got beat by Georgia by 60. That's not the same thing. I'm telling you right now, Alabama, that's who Florida State would have been taking the place of. That's what it was. It was Bama or Florida State. Florida State doesn't lose to Texas that badly.
I don't think so. No.
Florida State doesn't lose to Washington that badly. Florida State doesn't lose to Michigan that badly. It's Georgia. The problem here isn't that Florida State got left out and deserved to get left out. Excuse me. You got me all riled up, man. I can't speak. The problem isn't that Florida State got left out and deserved to be left out. The problem is they got left out and then had to play Georgia.
And truthful, if they get that fourth spot, Florida State plays an additional 13 players.
Right.
So, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. They can say, well, we didn't play our regular, we're already missing some. Now we're missing our whole team. And Georgia can say, we didn't play a starter after the second quarter, so it doesn't matter. So, I mean, it's hard, man. And I just think that the best college team won it. And God, if it ever gets to where West Virginia, that I can't just imagine West Virginia being in the Final Four in college football. That I don't. For one, here's my big thing. How many fans could actually go? And my buddy was talking about this. if you were a Michigan, if you're a top 4 playoff fan, how could you go watch Michigan play in Pasadena, go pay for the hotel room, the ticket to get there, everything? They win. And then you go to Houston the next week and have to do it again. You have to mortgage your damn house, to go watch 2 games. I mean, that's insane.
I can tell you right now. I've told told my wife, and you know my wife, and you know what my wife does for a living. But I've told her, I said, if West Virginia ever makes national championship, I said it's a good thing you do what you do for a living, because I would take a freaking loan to go to that game from the bank. I'd be like, hey, I need a personal loan for about 10 grand. I would buy the best freaking seat, and she's like, you're an idiot. I'm like, that may be.
Brother,
doesn't change. I would be there though.
I hate to say this. I think the Harley would be sold.
That's dedication. That's dedication. Dude, and I'm telling you right now, you and I are not the only 2 guys in this freaking state that would say that either.
I think there'd be John boats up for sale. There'd be camper homes. I know 17 Street Glide be for sale. I mean,
people be out here putting on Craigslist. We'll trade 83 Ford Mustang GT for tickets to national championship.
Yes, games. like Toothman, old Toothman Ford commercial. If it floats, or if it has hooves or floats, or we'll trade. You know. Oh my goodness! But
speaking
real quick, good buddy of ours, Mr. Tyler.
Oh, buddy. Oh, I bet you he's just freaking on cloud 9.
Oh, dude, he got the new Michigan.
Oh, man.
He calls me and says, Harbaugh retired Saban. Oh, my goodness. So what do you think about Saban retired? Real quick.
Saban to West Virginia confirmed. Now, listen, you know, going back to that thing where I said, hey, Neil Brown got my support for next year and this and that and the other. I'm going to tell you something right now. If I'm Ren Baker and Nick Saban calls me up and says, you know, the wife wants to come home and I've made all this money, let me coach West Virginia. I'd really like to have a job. I'm just like, hey, Neil, listen, man, I'm sorry. I know that you did well this year, but your ass is out of here. Pack your shit and get out of town.
Hey, Neil might be sitting on his couch here about January 15th. Phone rings. Hey, this is brother Nick. I want to come coach defense. He goes, you know what? Okay. Hangs up the phone. Jimbo calls. Hey, I want to be OC. Never happened. Never, ever happened.
In that instance, I'm okay with Neil Brown sticking around.
That's a stat I want you to look up. When's the last time that Nick Saban or Jimbo Fisher, neither of them had a job in college football?
Ooh, man, that's good.
Because Saban did leave for the pros for a little bit.
Yeah.
He came back.
Right.
And Jimbo, I don't think Jimbo ever coached a professional team as even like a tight ends coach or something, you know?
I don't think so.
But I tell you what, man, that's a lot of Jimbo Fisher's not done walking the sideline. I think Jimbo will coach somewhere again.
He is. He'll coach in West Virginia in 2025.
Crazy to hell. But
bookmark it, boys.
But I think Saban's done. 72 years old, bought a $15 million house in Florida last year. Saban, I don't think Saban will ever coach again.
I think you're right.
And I don't blame him one bit. You've done major money. So real quick, what is it? The coaching carousel. So Saban retires. They officially hire Washington coach DeBuro. Yep, that's it. I think he was All-American at Alabama back in the day, I think. And I think he did some grad work there at Alabama, I think. But Alabama hires Washington coach to come replace Saban. And Washington is finalizing today Arizona's fish.
From Arizona.
Yeah. to be the head. So now Arizona in the Big 12, who West Virginia plays, I think the 4th game of the year, 5th game of the year, something like that. West Virginia, what I saw on the schedule, West Virginia's going to Arizona to play. They're going to be looking for a head coach. So it all kind of moves along. So,
well, let's see. How can we make these dominoes fall? Arizona hires Mark Stoops. Kentucky hires Neil Brown, and then we hire Jimbo.
whatever, man.
Hey, look, I gotta stay true to my word. I support the man being here next year. That was the deal.
Yeah.
Unless Jimbo or Nick are really beating down the door to want to coach here. And I think you're right. I think Saban's done. Well, I hate to say this because I know that if Tyler ever listens to this episode, he's gonna, he's gonna rub it in my face. But there it is. That's the big thing. I'm not going to congratulate Michigan, but I am going to congratulate Tyler because I know that he is just freaking ecstatic about this.
Oh, dude.
And you know what, though? Listen, I've always been the person that even if I don't like a team, I won't deny that they're good. And this year, that's Michigan. Don't like them, but hey, you know what? They were one of the best 4 teams in college football this year.
Yeah.
They really were. Personally, in my opinion, I think Washington had plenty of chances to beat them, and Washington couldn't capitalize.
They did.
That one where that receiver was all the way out there by himself and dropped that pass. I don't know if you blame that on the quarterback because he should have thrown it on the other shoulder. I don't know if you blame it on the receiver for not being able to pull it in.
Yeah.
But that right there could have been a momentum-shifting play for Washington. And
I'm sitting there watching that game, and the whole time I'm thinking Michigan's up by 14, by 10. That was a 7-point ball game. It just felt like Michigan was in such control the whole time, but they weren't. They really weren't. And
how fast is that running back of theirs?
Edwards?
That kid busted through the hole on those first 2 touchdowns, and when he turned the burners on, ain't nobody on the field. Ain't nobody on the field catching.
What's crazy is he's kind of been their horse the whole year, where he grinds, and then they give it to Quorum number 2 for those 6-yard touchdowns, 3-yard touchdown, 8-yard touch. That's why the kid scored 56 touchdowns on his college career or whatever to become, Michigan's all-time leading touchdown scorer. But it's like that Edwards, he's like, I ain't getting you to the 6. I'm scoring.
House, baby. I'll tell you what right now.
Because he's like, if I get tackled at the 6, the next 2 plays, they're going to be they're going to bring this guy in to pad his damn stats,
That's right.
Dude, he had 2 rushes for 87 yards and averaged 40. It was 42 yards a carry.
My God, man.
I'd have been like, Coach, just take me out.
That's it for the day.
Yep, I got the national championship average right now. Nah, but Michigan's going. They don't even have to rebuild because a lot of their guys are, as far as I know, I haven't heard nothing crazy about them leaving. Rumor has it, breaking news, Harbaugh is supposed to be talking to
Chargers.
Huh?
The Chargers.
Yes.
The Chargers is like, I think the Chargers were the first team to reach out to him.
And he absolutely loves the Chargers quarterback.
Yeah.
Not Holbert. Is that his name?
I think so. I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't follow the NFL enough.
But
we need to. I guess if we're going to do a sports podcast, we better start getting in on it.
It wouldn't surprise me though if he goes with all the craziness that went on up there with Spygate and the sign stealing and everything. It's like he brought Michigan back, because Michigan they fell off,
They did.
When they fell off, he brought them back. He played there, coaches there, wins the national championship there. Your brother's an NFL coach. You succeeded in the NFL when you coached there.
Right.
Go back. Yeah, you know what I mean? He has nothing else to really win unless he wants to say, we can rattle off. I can make this a continued top 10 program for the next however long. You know who's hoping he leaves? Ryan Day at Ohio State.
I bet you he is.
Yes, because that he Ryan Day ain't worth a shit. He's awful. The other team, but the thing is, he's like 46-4, and he can't beat Michigan to save his ass.
I know that's the worst thing too.
Yeah.
I will say this though, Michigan did a really good job of holding off Washington for the win. If you catch my drift here,
hey, it's only illegal if you get caught.
Well, you're right about that.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, hey, I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode, guys.
Sorry, hey guys, those who stuck this out. Sorry, we usually don't go 52 minutes, but
yeah, we had a lot to go through, man. We had a lot to go through. But we appreciate everybody. We're almost to 100 followers on Twitter. X, I'm sorry. Yeah,
they just listen. If you're on Twitter, listen. I mean, we throw good stuff out there, So
I mean, hey, I like it. I hope you guys like it. Thank you guys. If you like what you're hearing, subscribe. Maybe shoot us a message. Tell us what you think. Give us a little feedback if you want to. Hey, everybody, we hope you all have a good week.
Hey, happy New Year. And we hope we left you smiling ear to ear.